All right, I'm dropping this video in between the other ones because I want to just dedicate one whole short video towards like keeping your optimizing your scene or I don't know, just maintaining it. And I think it will be easier to uh, find one movie about it, right? One clip about it. All right, so this is one of the images, older images that I've done. And when I was like working on it, I think it was like 2 years ago. I wasn't paying too much attention towards like keeping my files or my scenes optimized. So I was like loosely decimating a bunch of stuff. I wasn't yet aware how textures can impact the performance of the scene. So this is the blend file of this scene. The file is now packed, and I can already tell that the scene is way too big. It weighs like 10 gigabytes, which means there's like a bunch of useless stuff in there or oversized textures that I don't need. So, and also, I mean, what adds up to the size of the file are obviously not the textures alone. Models tend to weigh a lot too. So, whenever I'm launching the scene, the first thing I want to do is uncheck this mark, automatically pack resources. And then I want to go over here, external data, and unpack the resources. So it has like 3,000, almost 4,000 files. So right now it offloaded, and let's save the file. All right, so what happened right now is Blender offloaded all of the textures from the file into textures folder. It created the textures folder, right? So now I can go over here and I can update the image list. And then I will clear the duplicate images. And I'm already seeing that there's like a lot of images that are way too big, and the format is TGA. So compared to JPEGs, TGAs are also extremely heavy. And by the way, I mean, so PNGs are heavier than JPEGs, right? And TAGs might be even like heavier than PNGs. So I don't want them. And about like the quality when it comes to when you compare JPEG to PNGs, I know there can be a difference, but it's not visible in Blender. So I might be wrong. So what I'm gonna do is, what I have to do is I have to find those files because that's a TGA file, right? So I'm just gonna sort it by size. Just gonna open it in Nearfan view, and I don't need it to be this big, so I'm just gonna, those are boots or backpacks. So the backpacks are like super small somewhere in the file. I don't think that's this one. I think it might be actually this one. So just I can like resize it towards like even, I don't know, 400 by 400, and let's save it as JPEG, right? Let's open this as a list. Oh, sorry, details. So this one, not rotate it. This one and this one. And now I'm gonna go in here and just delete. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go in here, Blender file, and I'm gonna search for this metallic TGA file. I'm just gonna want to delete it. So now some of the textures will appear purple or pink. So I'll just have to replug the JPEGs because the file of the name by extension, it will change, right? Or what I can also do is click over here, select this, click over here, show list, and it will show you which materials is the file assigned to, the texture assigned to. But because I have like I might have like a bunch of duplicates and whatnot, what I would do is just find the file in here, metallic TGA. Yeah, I have a bunch of them. So for now, I'm just gonna like delete them. Delete, update image list. All right, we've already went like 100 megabytes down in size. So I want to go below 1000. So in case of STD snails, SEDs are textures from character creator. So I don't need, for example, for the nails, a texture that's not visible at all to be this big. So I'm just gonna go over here and resize it to 128 pixels. And if my scene would like start lagging even more, then I mean usually I'm not resizing all of the PNGs. But if I want to drop between 1000 megabytes and the PNGs are too big, then yeah, then I'm gonna resize them. Let's resize stuff to 2K. Let's update. All right, we down. Oh, I think they were resized actually. So sometimes if your texture is like 1K in resolution and you want to downsize it, you will I think with this add-on you might actually upsize them by mistake. So I don't know if it makes sense. I mean, it will just change all of the textures to this size, right? So if the textures are smaller, then obviously. All right. That's this. That's a normal map of a floor, I think. All right. Let's update the image list. All right, the value is not going down, so let's purge it. Let's save the file. So I think I can actually select this one, the code, matte texture 2, corneas 2, teeth 2. I'm just gonna go crazy. Yeah, okay, right, so the textures are going down. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save the file. So, and I didn't even launch the scene on to show you how it runs before optimization because it took for it a long time to load, and then it was like working super slow. But let's see now. So now next what I'm gonna do is I will want to cut my vertices, the amount of vertices. Right now I'm looking at 20 million, and I would say that's fine. Like sometimes I will, I mean most often than not, I will try to keep the scenes as busy as I can. But when I know I'm about to wrap an image, then I will just throw some heavy assets like, I don't know, like trees or vegetations that are always super heavy, right? So yeah, for now I'm just gonna get rid of the backpacks actually. Or you know what, I'm just gonna replug the textures quickly. Just albedo. All right, let's disable the volumetrics. So now what I'm gonna do is go back into to optimize and run 3D view analyzer. So it will show me which meshes are the heaviest on the scene. And I think I actually was decimating the scene a bunch of times. And by the way, I'm not a huge fan. I was a huge fan of having cavity enabled to pop up the objects a bit more, but it really impacts your performance. So in here, I've already was like keeping the scenes optimized, I guess, but I'm still think that now I can like clean the scene even a bit more. So, oh yeah, so that's silly. I don't need to have like so many subdivisions visible in the viewport. So that's the first thing, this walkway. Yeah, it's not like really visible, right? So what I'm gonna do is just convert it to a mesh because it has like a bunch of array modifiers. So yeah, we're down 2 millions already. Now this piece. So I think I'm just gonna, and by the way, this is again like simple deform with, twist 360 with hardops on like one kitbash set piece that was reused basically everywhere in this scene. But what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna isolate this one. I know it will cost me some memory. But it's just easier, sometimes better to clean a mesh when all of the modifiers are applied. All right, 1 million, 1 million. All right, I don't want for it to wait 1 million. And before I was, because as I said, I already was decimating a bunch of the stuff like 2 years ago when I was working on this image. So when usually you will run to optimize, you will have way more, a lot more elements visible with red color. So right, so it's like down to 300,000 vertices. So let's now do clean mesh. So it cut it out by half, but maybe it destroyed the mesh a bit. I think it will look fine. So with clean mesh, I think it's a hard function. When you go in here, it's basically doing the limited dissolve modifier. So you want to increase the remove threshold to a point where it's not affecting your mesh. So this is affecting the mesh too much. Usually you will want to go with like lower values or even lower than this one. It has, I had it like at 0.3, so it already done its job. Now what I want to do is I want to refresh the analyzer because it doesn't work real time, if it makes sense. I don't know. You want to toggle it off and toggle it on after optimizing the scenes. All right, so now it shows that this is green, and now it's showing that there are other heavier elements in the like hierarchy, right? So it will always try to show you the heaviest to the lowest. Now this piece, I don't think I needed this one because what I've done in here is just this. So I'm duplicating the object. I'm going to talk about duplicating the objects in a second. I don't want to, well, let's talk about it now. I don't want to Control C. What the hell? I don't want to Control C and Control V the assets because it will increase the amount of vertices in my scene. You see, it's like 17 million. It just increased by 200,000. What I want to do is press Alt D because it doesn't impact the performance of your scene as much. Now, I will Alt D. I will mainly Alt D stuff around the scene. But also, for example, what I will also do is, you see a bunch of tables around here, like they're set up around the scene. Those are instance collection. So I didn't want to grab those dudes and just like Alt D them. I want to put them in a collection called, for example, and I think they're already in the collection, but I want to grab them, dudes. And now if I want to copy them over, because I wanted to repeat, the thing with repetition is, in the scene there's like only a handful of character, and if I were to repeat them like 2 or 3 times, or like, I don't know, 2 times, it would be noticeable. But if you repeat them enough times, and you just keep rotating them, it suddenly, I think it will be harder to recognize the same models repeated over and over. Alright, so I've put them in my collection, dudes, and now what I want to do is press Shift A, collection instance, and add my dudes. Now I'm pressing Ctrl A, Alt transforms, I'm applying origin to center of mass, and I have my dudes tables. So this is, when duplicating is more efficient than copying. But collection instances or instancing collections is more efficient than duplicating, right? So it's like if you want for your scene to perform super fast, instancing your collection is always the best way to do it. But I wouldn't do it like on small caps. Like in the videos, I'm doing it on the environments. I'm doing it for like those kitbashy structures that I'm like moving around. And also why I like to collection instance stuff is because it's so much easier to grab everything than like having to click everything or going to select your collection, because everything is grouped in here and everything is not editable. So that's why it's saving the memory. You can't edit this mesh. But what you can do is press Ctrl-Shift-A, and it turns them back into duplicates. But you don't want to turn them back into duplicates if you don't want to edit anything. So I can just like move them around. So in case of this image, I've prepared a bunch of dudes, a bunch of tables of the screen, and all of them are grouped into instance objects, right? So I have like one my table, there's another one, there's another one, and so on and so on, right? And I can actually disable it. So yeah, you don't need to have your sources visible in your scene, and I think it might actually affect the performance of your scene too. All right, so I have this. I've talked about instancing. Let's keep decimating cheese. So this pipe, because it's like so small in an image, and it feels like it's super heavy, I don't feel like I really need it. I mean, back then what I wanted to do and what I've done is like come up with a bunch of the additional angles, like this one or so I wanted to showcase the whole environment. But then again, I would just find a way to find like way less expensive assets when it comes to memory usage. All right, this one, let's convert it to a mesh. Yeah, it's like 300,000 vertices. So for element this small and this invisible into the frame, I'm just gonna decimate the hell out of it. So collapse. 0.1. So I'm just going with a value that, let's lower it. This one doesn't destroy the mesh. I can go even lower. All right, that's great. Now this one is affecting the mesh too much, so I went too low. Yeah, let's roll with this one. And sometimes decimating stuff will, the faces of the object will start acting out. So with hard dots, I'm just gonna go sharpen and go with shade smooth. Or it's either shade smooth or sharpen. Sometimes it's both. Now let's grab this piece. This piece is extremely heavy. 300,000 vertices. Almost 400,000. Let's decimate it. So we are already down from like 20 million vertices to like 60 million, right? Let's convert it to a mesh. Let's sharpen it. The bar. Ooh. So I was super proud of this bar because I've done the mass gray thing, and then there is this metal-y part, and then there is this metal-y part, and I've added like some pieces of glue in here because to me it just felt like it will look more believable, but now it feels like, but now at cost of that, and maybe some other things in here. This table this bar that should weight like maybe 50,000 vertices weights like almost 400, right? So let's decimate it. And with the decimating stuff, it will also like sometimes make the mass gray surfaces look even more interesting. All right, 70,000. That's enough, I think. Clear. Let's run it again. Whoa. Yeah, I definitely don't want to have like this is like not even visible in the camera, right? And it weighs 150,000 vertices. So it's not that much, but because it's not visible in the camera at all, I want to decimate this cheese. And I think with this panel, there's this grating, that's a mesh. So I'm not using meshes for gratings anymore. I'm just gonna use the PNG. Clean mesh. That's way too much. Nope. Yeah, that's fine. The floor. Whoa. I mean, this one is close to the camera, so maybe I will leave it alone, but this one, no. So I think I was decimating this one already. Let's convert it to a mesh. Decimate it. I'll start with like 0.3 or 0.25. So this one might be actually destroying this mesh a bit, but hey, that's fine. So as you can see, as I'm like going lower and lower, and right now we are like down to 15 million vertices, I'm pretty sure I can drop it down to like 10. Now the walls, those huge walls. I'm 160,000 for like, I think that's fine. But this one is not fine though. Why is it even here? Oh, for the different camera angles, alright. Clean mesh. So this one was already decimated, but I want to decimate it more. Or clean the mesh more. Nice. Come on. Alright. Oh, so this is unacceptable. There's something under here that's not even visible in an image. Alright, so we are under like 15 million vertices. So for now I'm leaving this alone. So while building this image, I was already like aware of hey, I want to not to make it too heavy, and I think it was like done on 3090, so I was so impressed by the performance, and I was like also keeping some textures like optimized, but I don't want to say I should have done better, because just now I'm kind of realizing this kind of stuff. What I meant to say is, even though I thought I've managed the scene pretty well, it turned out that I can push it even further, and maybe like within the next year there will be like some additional stuff that we might be able to do with our scene to push them, right? The volumetrics are visible in here. All right, let's clear the analyzer. Let's double check, unpack our files. Always when you're saving, unpack always. Whenever you're importing model, there's a huge chance that this model will bring some texture in into your file, embedded texture as well. Yep, it runs faster now. So this is also a scene where there wasn't like real-time compositor in Blender yet. So now I can actually fly with the camera freely. Let's do this camera. That's this one. Depth of field. Let's focus the camera on the bartender. Let's lower the ratio. Nice. Now our chains are blurred out. What else do I want? Oh, this dude is missing pants. Nice. Some juicy ass cheeks. I don't know what happened. Is there something else that I want to talk when it comes to optimizing scene? So yeah, be aware of your file being packed. Be aware of the vertices amount. You can always decimate sheet out of sheet, and keep your texture slow. And by the way, I mean, if for example there would be like this huge ground plane in the middle, like totally it can be 8K texture, but when it's like, I don't know, this texture over there, then it doesn't have to. It can be like even 2K. I mean, even with close up, I think like 2 or 4K texture would be enough for this VAT. And there's this bug with character creator with Blender. So sometimes when you're changing the textures, oh yeah, I can talk about it. When you update an image list and you resize them, sometimes the scans that are imported into Blender, they will have only like, not that I don't know, post-apocalyptic cowl.jpg. It will be just called texture 0. So there's a huge chance that you will grab another model from the internet that will have the same default texture name. So what will happen if I have like a model of a table with name texture 0 and a model of a dude with texture 0, if you resize them, the Blender will swap the textures or will overwrite one texture 0 over the other texture 0. So what that means is both of the meshes will have messed up textures. So what you want to do is you want to find the texture 0, whatever the name it is, you want to rename it to something else like texture 1 table. But it happens like usually with Sketchfab assets. And it happens actually with character creator because it happened because I wasn't changing prefixes of the textures, so all of the textures were named the same. So I think either this lady has a face of the bartender or the bartender has the face of the lady. No, so there's the lady, so the bartender has the face of a lady, and he's like super. He should look a bit more grumpy, yeah. And then, for the other shots, I was like refining the dudes, so I didn't spend like too much time on him, and he's like super decimated and super low poly textures because in this frame he's so far away. Okay, all right. I think that's it for keeping your scene optimized. And as I said, I wanted to keep this video as a for your viewing convenience if you want to just like watch this portion of the video. All right.